Tonight, and I'm going to call the regular meeting of the Junta City Council to order. Today is August 5th, 2024. The time is now 6 p.m. If we'll all rise for our invocation. Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight grateful for the opportunity to serve our community. We ask for your special blessing on our children, that they may be safe, happy, and successful in the upcoming school year. We also ask for your guidance and support for our dedicated teachers and educators, that they may be inspired and equipped to provide a nurturing and challenging environment for all students. Guide our new superintendent and all our leaders as they work to create a collaborative and supportive community that benefits everyone. May our decisions tonight be guided by the deep commitment to the well-being, safety, and education of our children. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Amen. If you'll stay standing for our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Schofield.
Ramirez.
Present.
Velasquez.
Present.
Stoker. Ayala.
Here.
Ochoa. Pentoya.
Here.
Rickoff.
I'm here.
All right. Minutes of the previous meeting. I would entertain a motion.
I'll move approval of the minutes as presented.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, I'll ask for your vote. And that passes unanimously. All right. I'm going to switch this agenda up just a little bit because I have someone that had a very long first day, and I want to give him time to get up here, introduce himself, and talk before we go to citizens participation. Slowly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Second time.
Yeah, no, just different roles.
How are y'all doing today?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks. And you're right. It has been a heck of a long day. We started this morning, by the way, my name is Dr. Reese Blinko. I'm the new superintendent of schools here in La Junta, and I'm very proud to be here and excited about the future, not only of our school district, but of our town as well. You know, so we kicked off this morning with a nice little presentation, and we twisted Brad's arm to come up and do a little bit of presentation to us as well as the fire chief. He wore his fire chief hat this morning, so which was a good thing. Real quick, y'all excuse me, I'm trying to get to a picture that I took. I wanted to tell you about some goals that we're working on, but you know, we're obviously concerned with our academic performance in our school, and it should be concerning to everybody because good schools recruit. Good schools bring people to towns, and good schools are good for business. And so many times it's so much bigger than just living in your little shell of a school. You know, you're part of a community, an important part of the community, and we can't lose sight of that. So we want to grow our schools. We want to the point where we're bringing more teachers to town, more people working here, more money circulating throughout our community, our businesses doing better and succeeding more, and this is all part of the vision of the future of our schools. You know, we're looking at six big, I mentioned today to the staff, we have six big agenda items that we're really focused on for the next 3 years. So the first two kind of is a pair. It's refining our curriculum that our teachers teach and make sure they're within state standards. It's also refining our instruction. We'll be bringing in some new instructional models to help our teachers improve their instructional practices. The next two are community-based, which is we want to engage our students and give them focus and direction and target, as I said this morning, give them something to strive for, know that what the life is like outside of high school. We want to bring in career pathways. We want to work with Otero College, of course, and be prepared to prepare our students for the decades to come. We want to engage our families. That's another part of this initiative around the community piece, is engage our families, get our families involved more, and have them engaged in the learning practice. Make sure that, or ask them to try to provide some key elements, is what I said this morning. A place for their young students to study, good sleep at night, nutritious meals, and maybe, just maybe, get off these darn things for a little while. So, which we think is important as well. Then the last two are a little bit on me, or a lot of bit on me, and I'll get some help as well. So the fifth and sixth one are connect with community and stakeholders, and I'm doing this tonight, but we need to continue to be out within our community, especially myself. We had the BLT luncheon the other day. I know, Joe, you were there at that, which is the business lunch and talk. Thank you. I don't know how I get that mixed up, but I do. But we'll do those monthly via Zoom, and we'll continue to contribute. And then anything else that we can be at. I believe there's a little festival going on this weekend. So, it's part of my job duties to be down there and be visible and be seen. So we will definitely do that. And then we want to engage all of our stakeholders as well as part of this fifth one, community and stakeholders. But that includes our BOCES, who is here in town. It includes our school board, the city council, all the stakeholders in this, and we want to continue to do that. And finally, we're going to align the support systems in the school to support our teachers and our principals and make our schools successful. Everybody that works and that they're not in a classroom teaching is part of the support staff. From the bus driver to the food service worker to the maintenance worker. You think about a bus driver, he or she could set the tone for the day by what kind of attitude they have when that young person gets on that bus. So we want to make sure that they're aware of that food service is delivering nutritious meals and good meals, quality meals. The maintenance is keeping our grounds nice so our kids can play and run. But everybody's a part of this, and we're going to make sure we align those support systems so we can align ourselves for success. So thank you so much for inviting me here tonight. It's been a heck of a day. I'm tired, I'm hungry, and if you don't mind, when I leave, I'm probably going to go home. So, but I wish y'all all the best. I wish you all the best in finding also your new city manager. I was just telling Angela, it's harder to find a city manager than it is to find a superintendent, and it's not easy finding a superintendent. The town I came from, they had a vacancy in the interim for 2 years before they found a city manager, and I hear about it.
Braggart, you can say.
So they finally found one, but it's an inexperienced person to take those reins, and it's just tough out there to do this job. So I do wish you all the best. I look forward to continued collaboration and working with you. And yes, this crutch and knee brace is temporary. I had surgery 2.5 weeks ago on my meniscus, and but it's going to heal up and everything's going to be fine. So this is very, very temporary. Y'all give me a little time, and I'll be running and jumping and playing in no time. My body refuses to admit that it's 60. So we'll see how that goes. But it's been very nice, and I would answer any questions that you might have.
Absolutely, if anyone has any questions for
Where's
Reese.
he from?
Originally born and raised in Austin, Texas, or outside of Austin, Texas, and then did superintendency for 11 years in Texas before coming to Colorado. And I liked my time there, but didn't love my time here. And for 20 years, I've been coming to Colorado. I tried to hunt elk. I'm horrible at that. Says a Texan who usually sits in a deer blind and watches a feeder. But I'm really good at cycling, hiking, fishing. I'm okay at fishing. Last 3 years, I was in Dolores, Colorado, all the way across the state. And so I still have a storage unit over there I'm cleaning out, so I'll have to make a couple more trips. But for the most part, I have purchased a house here in town. I'm very proud of that. So I live on Cimarron. I live in a wonderful area. Angela helped sell me my house, and it took us a few to find the one that fit me and my dog, but we did find the one that fit me and my dog. So I'm excited to be here. Just the cutest little house, and makes me happy and makes my dog happy. So, but yeah, I enjoyed my time. We're at 7,000 feet in Dolores. So let's just go out on a limb and say it wasn't quite as hot there as it is here. but I'm adjusting. It's no different than parts of Texas.
You can run farther and bike farther down here.
I can breathe, that's for sure. You can breathe here better than you can there, that's for sure. But yeah, I know where the mountains are. I know which direction they are if I need to get up.
They don't get in the way of the view down here.
They don't get annoyed. That's exactly right. Is there any other questions? I'll stay here all night and answer questions. Well, if not, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing y'all out and about and working with each and every one of you as we move our community forward.
Thank
All right, thank you. We'll see y'all. All right, we'll see
Don't
y'all.
forget your phone.
Thank you.
You gotta have that.
You gotta have that.
You would have came back at some point.
That's-
All right, now we'll move on to citizen participation. This is for non-agenda items only. Everyone can come up and talk. They have 5 minutes. Please state your name and your address for the recording and for everyone in the audience. I think the mic's on. So quiet.
Sorry, I took the long way around. My name is Colleen Oquist. I live here in La Junta, 1716 Carson, and I'm here on behalf of the board of the Tarantula Fest. And I would like to ask if we could have some streets closed for the day of the Tarantula Fest, which is Saturday, September 28th. And that would be 4th Street to 2nd Street on Santa Fe, and 3rd Street, Colorado to San Juan, and then also about 10 parking places in front of the Times Square from the corner, onto the south. That would be for our educational vendors that will be coming in. They'll be bringing spider specimens and all kinds of things to share with the public. So that's our request, and we would like to make sure that everybody's aware that we're having it on the 27th and the 28th of September. That's the last weekend. Starts off on Friday. OJC, there will be a educational talk. Not OJC, I'm sorry, can't get over that. Otero College, the Tarantula talk will talk about, I think it's at 1:30 or 2. We'll get those numbers. Everything's on our website at Visit La Junta. So we just hope everybody comes out, enjoys the day. Okay. Yes.
We'll,
On that request for the streets,
Mm-hmm.
get with the police department.
2. Okay.
will Dr. Paula Cushing be there?
I believe she might. I haven't had a confirmation. This year we are having Dr. Cara Shillington from the University of, Eastern Michigan. It's like EMU, Eastern Michigan University. And they have the largest tarantula lab in the United States, and probably the world. I don't know if it's world renowned or not, but they do a lot of studies here every year. They have their graduate students come. They do a lot of research here for months, usually starting in May, June. They'll go through the summer, then some will come back in the fall. So she and her team are going to be here, and if Paula's around, she will also be participating, and that's what we hope. But she's also sending volunteers from the Denver Museum, so we'll have their support. And then, so that'd be awesome if we have 2 doctors there to talk about spiders. That would be great. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Pretty popular. So, all right, thank you.
Hi, my name is Jason Key, and I'm here to discuss. I know that there's been some discussion since the Supreme Court just ruled that it's legal to have camping bans. This is something that I've studied extensively. I have a bachelor's in sociology, and I've studied, actually followed homeless people in Denver for a while, and watched the police, how they policed that and how it worked. But I know that rather than going to the moral implications of that, I'd like to just discuss what really is probably the most important factor is the cost-benefit analysis of proposing a camping ban versus not. I want to just read this to you. This is a paper I just wrote for one of my courses. The cost-benefit analysis shows that paying for homeless to have minimal housing, food, health care, and job counseling costs far less than the public cost of policing their street life. Sometimes people have the most inane reactions to ideas. For instance, the idea of housing the homeless elicits howls of resistance. Think how much money that it would cost. How expensive would that be? I suggest we take a look at the costs that go into criminalizing homelessness. Think Progress did a cost-benefit analysis on a case in Osceola County, just south of Orlando County. Over the past 10 years, a grand total of $5 million has been spent on 37 homeless individuals. Did this $5 million buy them houses fitted out with all the modern comforts of a home and perhaps a swimming pool and a couple of servants? No. Instead, it netted 37 homeless people, 1,230 arrests, resulting in 61,896 days in jail at $80 per day to the taxpayer, resulting in a cumulative price tag of $5,081,680. That same cost-benefit analysis also showed that a far cheaper option than criminalizing and jailing the homeless is to provide them with a permanent housing solution. An average permanent housing solution unit in Osceola County costs $9,602 per year, which includes $8,244 for rent and utility subsidies and $1,358 for a case manager. In other words, each supported housing unit costs the county 40% less than what they currently are paying to put homeless residents in jail. A more comprehensive study was done in 2004 by the Lewin Group that issued the result of a 9-city survey that compared jail costs to emergency shelter and permanent supportive housing costs, among other things. According to the survey results, jail costs were 2 to 3 times higher than permanent supportive housing or shelter costs. That's according to a cost of serving homeless individuals in 9 cities. And basically all I'd like to say in conclusion is I believe we need to utilize the correction system as a place for people who pose a genuine danger to the public. And that does not include individuals whose only offense is living unsheltered. Arresting and booking our way out of the housing crisis is not a constructive solution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're
And then just for your guys' information up here, me and Mal have set, what day did we set?
Wednesday the 14th.
Wednesday the 14th at 5:30 here in council chambers to have another work session. This work session will just be on the, I don't know what we call camping, no camping, process, resolution, whatever it is that we're working on. So that's for all of you in the back, 14th, 5:30 here in council chambers. So just feel free to come up and say everything else, but 5:30.
Hello, this is my nightmare, so please bear with me. I hate public
There
speaking.
you go.
Can you hear me? Okay. All right, I'm just gonna read off what I have written. My name is Kristen Carpenter. I am a La Junta community member for more than 3 decades and a Ward 3 constituent. I work remotely for the Colorado Consortium, which is a branch of the School of Pharmacy at Colorado University. We focus on substance use education and technical assistance in Colorado, and homelessness is a constant theme that comes up in our work. I'm also a master's student working toward a public administration degree. I come to you today asking that you consider pausing further work on the proposed camping ban ordinance until you have time to explore sufficient alternative shelter and referral options available to your community. Homelessness is a really complex issue with multifaceted causes: lack of affordable housing, poverty, mental health challenges, and substance use disorder all contribute. Criminalizing individuals experiencing homelessness does not address these underlying problems, but actually worsens them over time. As fines and tickets go unpaid, it can create a cycle of arrest, incarceration, and release back onto the streets without adequate support services, leading to further instability and marginalization. Camping bans have not been proven effective in addressing homelessness. In fact, they disproportionately impact vulnerable populations, which include individuals with disabilities, veterans, and families who have children. These individuals often lack the resources and support necessary to access alternative housing options. Camping ban ordinances criminalize a lack of housing, which further isolates and stigmatizes people who are already isolated, and they are already stigmatized. These bans create conditions that can hinder an individual's ability to achieve self-sufficiency down the road. I did bring a copy of, it's the homelessness report for the state of Colorado. I ran out of printer paper, so there's one copy, but I can email it to you. My cards are also on there if they're helpful. So of note, to give you some summary from that report, 65% of adults who experienced homelessness in Colorado, this is all specific to Colorado, had at least one disabling condition. Of those who experienced homelessness in Colorado, 16% are under the age of 18. Substance use was reported among 22% of this group, and 27% reported a serious mental health concern. So when we're talking about people experiencing homelessness in Colorado, we are talking about people who are really struggling more than with just where they're going to sleep tonight. I also want you to keep in mind that ordinances when ordinances like this are put in place that criminalize or potentially criminalize homelessness, it makes people harder to employ down the road because a criminal background can disqualify you from a job. It also makes housing extremely difficult to qualify for. Background checks are often required, and it can create, even with private rentals, it can create a cycle of hesitancy for landlords to rent to somebody who has a criminal record. When deposits are necessary, we know that fees and fines and the potential loss of income associated with some of these tickets can make that even more challenging. We know that the only solution that works to eradicate homelessness is housing. It is not handcuffs. Just some evidence-based solutions that have been studied and that work to end homelessness include permanent supportive housing, rapid rehousing, housing vouchers, prevention and diversion programs, supportive services like case management, mental health and substance use treatment, and employment programs. And we have organizations in the community who do this. So my ask of you today is not that you vote no or that you leave here with your mind changed about homelessness. I recognize in 3 minutes I probably can't change your mind, and many of you have had a lot of time to think about this. I know that isn't realistic. Instead, I ask you to consider pausing this project and participate on a planning task force with local organizations who are experts in treatment, recovery, behavioral health, homelessness, housing, people with lived experience, and people who have been affected by homelessness to create a strategic plan that aids the community at large with thoughtful care while also reducing harm. I also think this approach can be alleviate some of the immense pressure that all of you are under. I think when you are in a position where you're a community leader, I assume it can get really overwhelming to be expected to be an expert in absolutely everything. And so experts in your community, I've been really fortunate to already speak with many of them. They want to work with you, they want to help you with this, and they want to alleviate some of your concerns. I believe our community is built on understanding and compassion. Home isn't just about brick and mortar. It's about a sense of belonging. I think camping ban ordinances will displace our most vulnerable residents and deny them a fundamental sense of home. So building a community where everyone feels understood and supported and not pushed away feels like it should be a priority. So I'll wrap it up for my sake as well as you guys.
That's your time anyway, so
Okay.
I'll let you finish.
Okay, just 2 sentences. The Dalai Lama once said, our prime purpose in this life is to help others, and if you can't help them, at least don't hurt them. This ordinance has the potential to hurt people, and I hope that you will consider taking pause, working alongside your experts, and creating a longer lasting plan that aids all of us as it relates to this issue. Okay,
Thank you, but I will also add that there is no motion or even anything on the agenda for an ordinance tonight. We're still in a very, very early stage, so no one has to vote yes or no tonight because that's not coming up. So.
Hi, thanks for restating that because I'm not here to try to change minds or anything, so I'm glad that you're going to have another work session that I can attend. My name's Lisa Trigilio. I live at 25 Chaparral Circle in La Junta. I am the program director at Fort Lyon. I have worked at Fort Lyon since it opened 11 years ago. I have seen 3,000 people already go through our program, and I'm very proud of what we do. So I've worked with people that have come out of homelessness. I've seen the changes that can be made, and I listened to the recording of your meeting, your work session, and I know, I believe it was you that said your wife doesn't like walking by them, she doesn't feel safe, the children don't feel safe. I agree with you. That is a problem. But I think that what I'm hoping we can get to, like Kristen said, is some type of agreement that let's try a task force first, that maybe, you know, we could go around, talk to people, tell them about resources, have them come out maybe to Fort Lyon, look at it. We could even just give them a tour. Would you be willing to try? There's a lot of solutions that we could try, because I think, and I'm going to pass out these fact sheets and my cards, the camping bans and the punitive portion of this doesn't work. It's about people that need help, whether if it's mental health, whether if it's substance use, or both. So I'm hoping that perhaps maybe this council, I know I had invited you about almost a year ago now to come out. I would love you to come out and see what we do at Fort Lyon. There's so many lives that have been changed. We're not perfect. It's a very hard population that we serve, but there's so many wonderful rewards coming out of that. And I think if we work together, we could help the city of La Junta improve this problem. So I thank you for your time.
Would you like to pay for that?
Oh, I have $1,000.
Oh, okay.
I just want to clarify that I did not say that my wife does not like walking by them, so just put that on record.
So someone said it.
Well, it wasn't me.
Okay, that's fine.
Sorry, I know you guys feel like you're maybe getting attacked, and that's not what we're here for. I want to say, me personally, I'm very nervous, so I'll be very quick. I totally understand. If I would have seen me walking around a few years ago, I would have been a little nervous, you know. So we get it, but as you heard, there are success stories, and what I would like to ask is, are we done finding those yet? There's 2 sitting in the room that I know of right now, and many more that we can't talk about. And so on that note, I wanted to pass out a number sheet of people that you can contact if you find somebody homeless, stuff like that, to help find resources, like the Fort, like the theater house, like that new project going up, Total Concept is putting up, because folks that are homeless now, I'm not going to say all of them are going to be able to return to productivity, but many of them are, and many of them also bring with them health subsidies such as Medicaid, SSDI, and of course there are grants that we need to consider too. Are we going to take our people that are here now, displace them to Pueblo, and then fill these places up with people that aren't from here? Because a lot of the homeless that are here now were here for a long time. So I just wanted to say that. And so, sorry, I'm extremely nervous. So I just wanted to give that to you guys. Those organizations are not affiliated. One is Valleywide and one is us. I got Terry's number on there. And so you can contact us. Maybe we can help find a resource or find a place for these people to go. And I did want to mention, maybe consider like a triage situation, because like I mentioned, it's not a blanket statement. They're not all this way or that way, or you know, some may not be able to be helped. So we understand that too. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. My name is Jeff Richardson. I live at 617 San Juan Avenue. I only came because I heard about this, that there was going to be some discussion about a camping ban. And 5 years ago, I found my way to this valley, Arkansas Valley, which was not a place I really thought existed from my Colorado endeavors, which were all in the western part. But I ended up at Fort Lyon because I was an alcoholic and a drug addict, and I became homeless, and homelessness was okay for me. Like I accepted it, you know, and so I really understand where these people are, because it's pretty insane to me that I could accept to live that way. But you know, and so my kind of address with this is that alcohol and drug addiction, you know, the mental health thing. I know there's big problems with why people are homeless, or financial difficulty. There's a lot of different reasons why. Mine was those things, so I'm not going to pretend to know. Pretend that I know anything about any other reasons or what solutions might be for that. But I can say this, you know, I mean, you know, my mother died of brain cancer. It was a brain cancer that had a very small treatment rate. But what's interesting to me is nobody gives up and says, well, you know, nobody's going to make it from that type of cancer, just let it go, you know. But with homelessness, and especially with drug addiction and alcoholism, it seems like we're willing to just go, well, just let them do it, you know. And there is a solution out there. I mean, I'm living proof. I drank from when I woke up in the morning until I went to sleep at night. I did meth. You know, another thing about that lifestyle for me being homeless was not only is it difficult because I committed crimes while I was homeless just to sustain myself, and because of drug addiction, alcoholism, so I have a criminal record. 5 years later, and my criminal record, felonies from 20 years ago, still make it hard for me to be productive in society because of the way people are viewed, and I think people think that we don't have a chance to make it. And the reality is like I said with the cancer thing, most of us don't. But we don't give up on the ones that do. You know, there's a small percentage. You know, I went to Fort Lyon. I know Lisa. I know 3,000 people who went. I found out today a guy who I was there with died. I don't know why, but he's younger than me, and I can assume probably why. And I've known a lot of people who have died, but I also know, interestingly enough, a lot of people who are very successful coming out of there, and it's a small percentage. It is. But the reality is I'm an ex-homeless person. I don't want to walk out my front door in San Juan and see a guy, and I built a fence in my alley because I got people selling drugs behind me. You know, it doesn't mean I like it, but it also doesn't mean I don't feel compassion and don't think that there is a solution to. You know, there's a solution for these people, and it's not to put them in jail, because then they go to jail, then they get out, they don't go to court, and so then they get a failure to appear, and they don't go for that, and then they got all these warrants and that, and it's like, you know, you just, I mean, it's nice for building a new jail, it's great, but be ready to fill it up with these homeless people if there's no other solution is my thing. Because, you know, I know I'm long-winded, but I read an article in the Westward today about Mayor Johnston, and I was really impressed with that guy taking a different approach in Denver. Every time he did a sweep, he had somewhere he was going to try to put these people, because everybody knows if you sweep something and you don't get the dustpan out, you're just sweeping it. It's just over there now. It's still the same dirt. So, you know, my thing is if, and again, I understand you're going to have other discussion, but I just wanted to put maybe some thoughts in your head, because I think it's hard for people who haven't actually experienced some of these things to really process, you know, a day in the homelessness, what it is. It's like, you know, go get a job. You ever spent 2 weeks outside when it's 100 degrees taking a shower? I mean, nobody's going to hire you. You know what I mean? I wouldn't hire a guy to do my outside work who look like some of the people here. So I just hope I can be of any benefit in whatever way, because my life's been restored. Thank God for Fort Lyon. That's a huge benefit. I mean, they gave me a chance. They did that thing, housing first, which honestly, my opinion, I don't know if I agree with that. It should have to be so, but regardless, I think we need to try to really give these people a chance rather than a citation or a criminal record, because I've gotten both, and neither one of those helped me come here today. So I appreciate you guys' time. I appreciate that you guys even are open to discussion about this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for citizen participation?
There we go. Okay. I'm Ashley Hernandez. I live in Swink, but grew up here in Lahana, and I'm here every day. I just started a business downtown myself. I'm here on behalf of the Kitchen of Kindness as well, and I just hesitated to stand up because everyone's pretty much addressed everything that we need to address, and I'm not trying to beat a dead horse either, but, I guess what you guys are already doing, having another discussion here soon and letting us know and being a part of it, is really awesome, because that's pretty much what I was gonna touch base on as well, was, just to say that we have a lot of compassionate, big-hearted people that are willing to give their time. They're volunteers. We volunteer every Thursday, cooking for people, helping people, trying to find other resources. As it was said before, we are also aware that not every story is the outcome that we would hope for. But we do see the ones that are, and that's wonderful, and they become a part of the community, and we just do everything that we can all the time to continue to make this a better place, find solutions. I've unfortunately had experience with close people that I know too that were a part of drugs and addiction, friends and things like that, and not all of them make it out, as it was said, but we really, really do try to do our best with the Kitchen of Kindness to help these people, and they start coming, whether they get into a better place or have found a home or housed yet, they've started to know us. We've become their friends. We've become where they network. We're not just people that help them with food anymore. It's maybe a light at the end of their tunnel, like, hey, I get to go do something today. I get to talk to people. I get a new shirt today. You know, I get to do something that makes me feel normal. And so I'm probably rambling as well, because like I said, I can't really touch base anymore on anything else that wasn't already said, but just to be aware that here's another person saying that we're ready, I'm ready to become a part of the solution and find something for these folks either, and hopefully not give them tickets and put them in jail. I'm not saying that that's what anyone's rushing to do. We're all trying to figure it out, but you have a group full of people here that are more than willing to be a part of that, and we appreciate being included and knowing the times and when and where to be.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? No? Okay, thank you all for coming and sharing. I would encourage you to attend the work session that we will be having next Wednesday, 5:30 here in council chambers, just like this, except you don't have to get up. Well, you might have to, just so everyone can hear you that's watching online. But it's a discussion. That's what the work session was. I had a lot of people reach out and say, hey, how did you guys do this? We didn't do anything. It was just a discussion. It was just a work session. No business can be done at a work session. So it's just an open conversation, whether it's the camping ban, whether it's ordinances for different violations like weeds or junk vehicles. What was the other one that we did on that night? Economic development. All of that was just one conversation, but what we did find out was that we probably just need to stick to one topic for this next one, and then after that we'll keep moving forward on different topics as we go along, but that'll be next Wednesday here at 5:30. So if you all came out tonight, I would really hope to see you again next Wednesday. I got so many papers, I don't even know what my agenda is after. All right, unfinished business city manager search. All right, this is the other hot topic that I've been getting nothing but questions on. So we had 2 finalists when the last time I addressed everybody. In that time, we had one of the other finalists accept another position. So he accepted a different position elsewhere. We are still moving forward with the other finalist to come on down. He's going to meet with the search committee at 5 p.m., just him and the search committee. And then after that, it will be open to the public, so anybody can come on out, address him, ask any questions you may or may not have of him. When I say the public, that includes city employees as well. You guys are members of the public. You guys can come out and meet him and talk to him. Then the next day will be a interview with council, okay? After that interview with council, no business will be done. It's not a meeting to where it's going to be a decision made just like that. That's not how that works out. So just know that if you cannot attend the meeting, you pretty much know all the council people up here. Get whatever your ward is, whichever council member is in representing your ward, or both of them, and see if they will ask some questions for you if they can't make it. Maybe one of our local news medias will be there, and maybe he will do a interview for everybody to see. But that's where we are at right now. So we did not decide just to scrap the whole thing because someone else got a job. We're going to move forward and interview Mr. Comiskey and see where that takes us. But that is our job moving forward, and that is going to be a busy week. So I hope if you guys are interested in what's going on, you will show up to the meet and greet and ask your questions.
Joe, do you want to give those dates?
That is, what is it, Wednesday the 7th? Wednesday the 7th at 6 p.m. at the Senior Center.
The senior center.
And then you can show up the next day, but it's going to be a closed interview. So, if, like I said, there's not going to be any business, so I won't even put it on and say, nothing's going to happen after that.
I just want to say, of all the searches,
Mike.
I just want to say that this is very, very, very typical of this level of search to have a number of finalists come forward, and then in the days or weeks that it takes to arrange for travel and all the other things. These are folks that are looking for jobs, so of course that it's going to happen. So I would just encourage people not to read anything else into the process other than what the mayor just said. It's this is how they go. It's very typical to get to a process where you committed, we want to have 4 finalists come to interview, and you might get 2. The last, the president's search at Otero, that's exactly how that one went down. So this is very, very, very typical, and nothing should be read into it.
Mr. Gilly from SGR will be here as well too.
Okay.
He wants to talk with council as well too, and just say, hey, here's how everything played out. He was with me on the phone all morning, just going over different scenarios, that he will inform council of all of our options, and just people have to know that this is still part of the process, and then it kind of lets you understand why you don't share certain information at certain times, because stuff like this gets a little bit out of control at times. So. All right, moving on. It's no longer my turn. It is Mrs. Harris's turn.
So we're ready for this. Are you ready?
No, you're not on. Now you are.
No, okay. So we're ready for the second reading of an ordinance making supplemental appropriations to the general fund, internal service fund, electric fund, water fund, wastewater fund, and sanitation fund for the calendar year of 2024.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the second reading of the ordinance of the supplemental appropriations to the funds that council enumerated.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I have some comments. So last time I asked some questions about the amounts during the first reading, and I just want to clarify, I am pro trash truck. I am not against trash trucks. I am pro transparent budgeting process, and there's a huge difference, and they are not to be conflated or confused. So I went back through the budget that was passed in early November, and for example, one of the issues I'm most questioning is the insurance rates. And in the budget that was passed, what was put forward was actually rates that were less than the year before. And I don't think anybody would have projected that our insurance rates were going to go down. And in conversations with CIRSA, we know that they released the insurance rates, the projected insurance rates, on September 1st. So I know we can do a more, to me, this is about transparency. It's not about anybody not doing their job. It's not about not needing trash trucks. It's not about trying to save money by buying equipment at auctions. I understand that the money was in the reserves for those 2 departments. It is about the city council having a budget that we vote on in November that is transparent and is put together as well as it can be in a way that is gonna reflect what the city can expect going forward for the next year. I think it particularly is important since our reserves have been declining at a very significant percentage year over year for the last 5 years. And we don't have a well that we can keep going to. And the well that we went to last time was asking the voters to save the city by passing 2A. And 100% behind 2A, I don't think I know we wouldn't have the city we have now if 2A hadn't passed, but we can't do another 2A. We can't go back. We have to put forward budgets and live with budgets that are living within our means and that are balanced from the beginning, and that we're not putting out new numbers in August and then in November. We need to know what our city's financial position looks like as clear as possible. So I will be voting no because I want to make a statement that the budgeting process needs to be closer to actuals going forward.
Commissioner, can I address some of that? If
Yes,
you wouldn't
please.
mind. So, yes, those were numbers back in 2023, back in November. We have had numerous meetings for this upcoming year with the financials and the other directors of their division, of their departments. I've given very strong focus of just because 2A passed, that doesn't mean we have a bunch of cash coming in. That we still need to live within our means. Maybe a couple little projects here and there, maybe we can increase a couple little things, but we still have to make sure that we have money that we're able to put into savings and also stay within where we can stay focused and stay afloat. I don't want to see the city go backwards, none of us do. So I've been very upfront and very open to all my supervisors stating that when you do make your budget, don't expect a lot of big increases just because of where we were and where we want to stay focused on. So we all have to understand things will pop up during the year. We cannot look into our magic 8 ball for the entire year. We can stay on budget, but there may be times that things may pop up that we have to come to council for approval on. But our goal is not to, but that's just how everything works. But that's our goal this year.
Just for clarification, were you the one with the search set of numbers last year, Brett?
No, I was not.
Okay.
That was done before I was here.
And then also, I always tell people the budget is a living document. So we plan our best and we do our best, but as Brad said, things come up that we did not plan for, that we did not see coming. Water main breaks with our water department is one of them that's just a killer when that happens, because it just eats so much of that away. Even though we put so much aside for that, it's just, you never know how big it's going to be or where it's going to hit, a fire,
Right.
Stuff like that. And then a lot of this too, just so we're clear, was grant money too. So, you have to account for that in some way. So just so we're clear on that. Any other discussion? If not, I'll ask for your vote. And that has 4 yeses and 1 no. Mrs. Harris.
Moving on to new business, the first is a resolution declaring the city's participation in the Jumpstart program. Mr. Mayor, do we have anyone who can describe the Jumpstart program who's here? Otherwise, I'd be glad to just give a quick summary. Do anybody? No? The
Please do.
Jumpstart program is a grant program that's been available for some time. It's requires participation by the city as well as businesses. What happened, and the reason that this is here, is that we had a statute that sunsetted the program in 2020. But upon greater reflection and research, we found that it didn't need to sunset. And we have a business in the city right now who wanted to take advantage of the Jumpstart program and was able to bring it to our attention that our ordinance meant that it was outdated for us, even if it was not outdated for the county and for other participating cities. So we're bringing this forward to change the language to permit it not to be outdated, to bring it into the present.
And that's something that Brad sent to me and I sent to Mrs. Harris so we can get that going, so, I think we'd be, well, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion for approval.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second, any discussion?
Just a couple, let's strike junior, just so when we pass it, we, in the third whereas, that it's Otero College. Just so it's passed correctly the first time. And then I'm just curious, who is the funding body? I see Colorado Economic Development Commission, but is it, who?
It comes from the state, so it's not anything local or through, and I apologize.
Is it OEDIT, or do we know what the funding?
So it,
OEDIT, okay.
Yes.
That's all right.
you know, if anyone were interested in learning more about the Jumpstart program, I learned literally everything I know about it, which isn't very much, by having a hour conversation with Danelle Berg one afternoon. So I would refer you all to her.
Okay, and do we know, did people take advantage of it? Did we have
Yes.
businesses that were jump started by it?
Yes, we did. And as I was saying, the whole purpose of bringing it back is that we have people who want to
Good.
take advantage of it now.
Excellent. I think it's exciting. I was excited to read about it, so thank you.
More discussion? Not I'll ask for your vote. And that passes unanimously. Mrs. Harris.
Next on the agenda is a resolution concerning the petition for annexation filed by Pamela Sisson.
I'll move approval of the resolution concerning the petition for annexation.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion?
I just have a question about how annexation works. Sorry, new council person. So is the benefit of annexation that then they receive fire services, they can get water, like why annex?
Fire service is included everywhere, so it's not really that. It's more of infrastructure, city sewer, city electric, city water, things like that, trash. So they become part of the city instead of rural area to where they have to get their own trash service or things like that.
Okay. This piece of property in question, is it a vacant lot or is there already a building on it? I
It's
couldn't
vacant
tell
lot.
from the,
It's
okay.
directly south of the church.
Got it, okay.
Up at the end of Rancho.
All right, I was driving around, well, clueless, but that helps, thank you.
The other clarification I would lend there is because when one is about to build something, there are different rules and codes if you build under the auspices of the county versus the city. And so one of the emphases here was to be able to do this construction project with the regulations of the city.
Yeah, and to meet all the ordinances and everything,
That's
and
right.
setbacks and things like that.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, thanks, I appreciate it.
Any other discussion? If not, I'll ask for your vote. And that passes unanimously. Committee and board reports. I know Mr. Velasquez has one, so.
Well, from the Lahana Senior Center Advisory Board, I guess the big thing will be that starting September 1st, they're gonna be discontinuing all dances. Okay, the attendance has dwindled and it's cost prohibitive for the senior center to maintain those. They don't collect enough at the gate to pay for the band, and the senior center has to take in that cost. And that's just the way it's been going. So we're gonna discontinue that. So can you hear me? A little louder now. They're holding about 500 strong in their membership, so it's staying about consistent with that. On Wednesday mornings at 8 o'clock, they have a veterans meeting. Now there's a large group of our contingents of the American Legion, but it's not a Legion meeting, it's just a fellowship of veterans. So if you're a veteran and you feel like you need to talk to somebody or you just want to have fellowship with fellow veterans, show up there at the senior center on Wednesdays at 8 o'clock in the morning. Coffee and donuts. So if that doesn't entice you, I don't know what will. So, and the Senior Center Advisory Board is going to look at renting out the facility. They're going to prepare a package with the help of council and submit that to either the interim or the new city manager, whichever comes first, to see if that will be available for rental. So thank you. You have to get pushback on fences.
I heard you guys have 500 non-dancing members, I guess.
400.
Any other committee or board reports?
I attended the Lahana, the Visit Lahana meeting
Tourism?
on July 16th, and I just feel like I picked the monster of all meetings to go to. It was fantastic. I learned a ton and just wanted to report out on a couple of things. The Dawn Block and sorry, I'm having a total space out. Sorry, Dawn Block gave a fantastic presentation about the multimodal grant, and I asked her to forward, Pam Deneke forwarded the packet that they put together that was like the history of the visitor center, multimodal, she had every resolution that's been passed to date, everything you would ever possibly want to know about the grant that we have received and are waiting for it to be finished and given to us. Like it's a very, very, very exciting project that has a lot of momentum behind it, and I just really commend Dawn for putting together the presentation, and I think Pam, especially now that she's also taken on economic development, I think we have a pretty dynamite opportunity for some great things going on with the multimodal, the grant that we already have, the planning grant, and then some potential for other future grants going forward. The other thing that was really exciting was there were two different partnerships that were presented for basically free consulting work. One was through CEO, University of Colorado, Masters of the Environment program, a capstone opportunity where we can put out projects that we propose that we want done, and it's basically 2,400 hours of consultant time done by graduate students, and I commend the board for finding that opportunity and the deadlines and people raising their hand and volunteering on how we're going to coordinate getting some responses on that. And then there was also OEDIT has an outdoor recreation, a very specific granting opportunity that they have that is very similar, like partnering with the community, basically free consulting work. And it was very obvious to me the 6 communities they've done so far, none of them are on eastern side of Colorado. So talk to Pam, definitely hoping to get our name in the hat for some of those statewide opportunities. This one, the outdoor recreation within OEDIT. So just very excited about a lot of the momentum, things that are going on with the tourism board, and just wanted to make sure people know that that group is pretty impressive. So that's it.
Thank you. Any other committee or board reports? Mr. Davis.
Okay, just got a few things to go over. I want to give a little update about Brick and Tile Park. We did get an update today, this afternoon, about 3 o'clock. CIRSA is going to be helping us out with some coverage of the funds on some of the items, so that's going to be very beneficial. But we did get updates on the quotes from TLM and from Dibble to get some stamped plans for some caissons to help the security or the sturdiness of the bridge and things like that. Anyway, work could be starting in the next couple weeks to get that going, so we can hopefully get that back up and running, and then we'll do some groundwork around there as well to help move some of the dirt back and get some of those weeds cleaned up and get it back to operational. So we're very excited about that. The pool closes this Sunday to the public. Sunday's the last day. They've had a very beneficial summer there. They did hold a movie in the pool last Thursday, and they had a very good turnout. They allowed people to bring in like floating devices and things to float on and sit on in the water to watch the movie. And I think Brock said they had somewhere almost up to 300 people come this year. So it was very, very good this year. So with that, with the closing of to the public, we hold the annual Dog Day at the pool, and that'll be held on August 17th from 10 to 12. Like Elisa's raising her arms about that. So that's the last time, and they'll let the dogs play in the pool. We currently have football and volleyball registrations are opened up, and it's moving right along and moving good there. For the airport, last Thursday, if you didn't see or you maybe saw some of the pictures, we had 16 Blackhawks come in late evening time and do some refueling. They've been down in Pinion doing some maneuvers and things. And out of the 16, or for the 16, they all had to top off with fuel. We sold about 4,000 gallons of fuel for those 16, which was very, very great for us. And it was a good break because at the same time up there in Colorado Springs, they had a very severe thunderstorm come through Fort Carson area and damaged some other helicopters up there from the wind and things. So it was good that the 16 were down here. And we will be having another one come through, another wave. These were all out of Fort Carson. We'll have another wave of helicopters coming through in the next few weeks from Fort Campbell, and they'll be down here doing maneuvers and same thing, fueling up and everything. So very beneficial for the airport. Electric department, of course, has been working hard through these hot days, trying to make sure that we have good power. They did change out a bunch of transformers to update around town to kind of help with the load. And again, they did it all live. They didn't shut down any power for anybody. So my hat's off to those guys doing that. Street department, been working on the ball field up off of 22nd lately. They had some drainage issues again when we had those heavy rains. So Martin and his guys got up in there and recut some drainage to keep the water away from the ball field and help prevent any further damage. And then they're looking at finishing up that project. Hopefully, if our paint comes in on the 3rd Street Bridge, you know, they went and kind of resurfaced it. They're going to go underneath, and they've cleaned out all the old stuff on underneath and repaint those beams and girders and everything to help give it longer life. So that's good. The PD last week, the police department, they worked closely with CBI on last Thursday and Friday, and we were very successful on hitting some drug areas in town. They did a couple locations. I'm not going to give addresses. It was out there in the public, but they hit a couple big addresses and resulted in some arrest out of that and quite a bit of drug paraphernalia and drugs and a couple weapons seized out of that. So making a difference there, and they're going to continue to work with CBI and taking care of that. For the fire side, I always have to throw a fire in there. You know, I can't go a day without that. I did deploy a crew over to Southwest Colorado last Tuesday. They left last Monday. They're on a severity deployment to where the threat over there was very high, and a lot of the other resources were across the state. They did have to work really hard the last couple days. They had a thunderstorm go through there with no rain, and this is around Dolores, Durango, Cortez, that area. A lot of thunder and lightning come through there. They had 10 starts over there, and they were able to help local resources and federal and state resources knock those down so they didn't get big. So those 3 guys will be back. They'll be gone for 14 days, so they'll be back next week. So they're looking forward to coming home and sleeping in their own beds. The other thing is I handed out just some information for you guys, some stats and numbers from the library for the first 6 months of the year, and then just kind of an update from Mr. Bill Jackson and the industrial park of airport, golf course, things about the industrial park and property management and stuff, just kind of some stats and where we're at this year. And again, just about the budget stuff, we're getting ready to dive into it hard here with the supervisors. I start my meetings next week with them one-on-one, and we'll be trying to lay it out and make sure that we stay focused and stay going at the straight way that we are. If there's any questions for me.
I just want to add that Police in the Park will be this Friday, August 9th from 6 p.m. to 8:30?
6:30.
At Ohana City Park. You know, it's building the police and partnerships. I know for a fact that they have a lot of really great prizes to give out.
They do. They've been out working hard, going business to business.
They've been working really hard. And this is more for everybody in the community. You know, sometimes people think it's just for the kids, and the kids do have a great time there with all the activities they have. but it's for everybody to know that, these are people that you can talk to if you're having issues, and people that, are trying to make a difference in the community. It gets you on a first name basis with a lot of them.
And if you just have questions about what they do, come talk to them. They'll be happy to talk about what they do.
And if you just want to sign up for the reserves or, anything
Or the
like that.
Citizens Academy.
Or the Citizens Academy, that's a good time to do that as well too.
Correct.
So that's then, and I do know that Todd is working on some press releases for those busts that happened. He'll probably work with someone here in our front row that will be.
I believe they did get a few out.
We did release one. We have some video from part of the other incident. Coincidentally, I happened to be there, and so we're gonna work with the police to make a release. We're hopefully expecting that tomorrow, but
And there
whenever
could be some
it'll be
further arrests out of this as well. So
Yeah.
they are making a big effort to knock things out, and the assistance with CBI and those officers. I personally know some of those guys that are coming down, and they're some of the best, and I feel very comfortable with them down here helping us, and confident.
With CBI, and I can't forget Otero County Sheriff's helping out as well.
The Sheriff's Office and the Marshal's Office.
So, good job to all involved on that. Any other questions for Brad?
In the past, Brad, given the temperatures, they're getting to that dangerous stage. The lobby of the police department, the library, and the senior centers, they weren't shelters, but they were areas where you could go if you needed some respite from the heat and soak up some AC. Is that still the case?
Yeah. We haven't had too many offer that. I mean, there's other places they've been kind of going, from what I understand, but they're more than welcome to come in, hang out for a little bit. After hours, we're asking, especially in the lobby in the police department, that it's now locked after 5 o'clock, and you have to push the button to come in unless you have an emergency. But they have been able to go into the other places.
Okay, thank you. Except the city council chamber, don't come in here.
Yeah, it's too hot tonight.
No shelter.
Governing body comments?
I want to say thank you to Brad, but the entire staff. I really enjoyed the budget. What did we just say to call it? A rendezvous? A soiree?
No, rendezvous. A soiree. Yeah, we'll do.
Yeah. Every department had put together a table and had information, and I learned a ton. I appreciated what I learned about the conduit from Tom. He put together an amazing packet. I encouraged any of those. I appreciate that a lot of work went into putting materials together, so feel free to have people send those out to us electronically. I thought they were some great resources. I learned a lot about how to build good streets and what it would look like to have a long term plan for that. I know it was a lot of work, and I know that there wasn't a lot of turnout, and I just want to encourage us to maybe go back to the soiree planning committee and not scrap it next year, but figure out how to do it so more people want to come to the soiree and learn, because I do think it was a very valuable evening, that all the comments and questions that people have, it was the perfect time to come and ask them. So thank you to all the hard work and the PowerPoints, the slides, the handouts, the thought that went into the evening. So
I'll make sure to spread that to the
yeah,
supervisors.
please, great discussions. So, and then my only final comment, I've been doing a lot of reading, a lot of homework, the issue of our unhoused people in our community, and I think from what we heard tonight, I would like to suggest that we reframe next week's conversation as a conversation about the unhoused in La Junta, and not focus on a particular piece of legislation. I understand that may be part of it, but I think as we heard tonight, and anybody who's done any soul searching about this over the last couple of weeks, I think it's a very dynamic problem, and I think we have a lot of people in this community who know a lot about it, and they're not, a lot of them are not sitting up here. So I would just like to broaden what we're planning to talk about, and that we make it a conversation that is more inclusive what the real issue is, and that's people who don't have a home to go to at night.
I'd like to commend Mr. Gil Escobar. Found out through a conversation with him at the tree dump that the recycling, I guess, dump site on there by Veterans Field where they have all those containers for cardboard has become exactly a dump site. I've made no bones about it. I don't like it. It's not the concept of recycling that I don't like, but it's the fact that trash is starting to collect there. Mr. Escobar takes it upon himself to go there and clean it up by himself. So I just thought that's just the type of citizenry involvement in our community that makes Lahana such a great place. So thank you, Mr. Escobar.
That is awesome, because he lives on the other side of town for him to go and do that. I just want to thank the Chamber for the BLT. It was a really great event. The speaker was a professional in economic development, and the way they did it in Kansas, it actually was different than how we do it here. They had their county and their city pay into one economic development, and I thought that was very interesting. I'm not saying we're going to go that route, but given the work session we had just had, it was a nice, segue into that. So that's something that maybe the Chamber can share with everyone, so that we can think about that as we move forward with economic development. And then, we talked about work sessions, and the one we have next week, we're also going to plan another ordinance work session. We got to sync that up with Colby. So I'm sorry to counsel in advance, but there's going to be a lot of work sessions and a budget work session. So that'll be coming up as well too. So probably back to back to back. But other than that, I think we're good. Do you have anything to say? No? All right. With that, I will adjourn us. Thank you all for coming out tonight.
For La Junta City Council, with your Southeast Colorado News, I'm Adrian Hart.